100 grand Ross with the rock never stops. You feel me? Talking Detroit basketball. We got the playoffs coming. Oh boy, who would have thought? We here. We here. Feel me? This is gonna be good. This is gonna be an exciting series. I love this series because it is the start of something. It is the beginning. It's the uh, it's the point in which this franchise has turned a corner that it's turned before. And that's comforting to know that this organization has figured out how to win championships in the past. And if I'm honest with y'all, it's a beautiful thing to even be here. Many organizations, they have the right mixture of things, the right coach, the talent, but then they just don't have the luck. They have the injuries. They have, even like I look back at the uh, Blake Griffin, Reggie Jackson, Andre Drummond, Detroit Pistons. And as much as people want to potentially look at that as a fail, you understand that team was ravished by injuries after that playoff run. And that was a talented squad. Reggie Jackson was in the prime of his abilities. He was out there giving the him and he and the ha with the cross and the step backs. He was doing everything. He was killing them. Blake Griffin was all NBA. Andre Drummond was an all star, walking double double. They had a core. Stan Van Gundy was there. It just didn't work out. They got injured, and that shit happens, man. And I know it's easy to be like to try to blame somebody for things that happen outside of our control, but that's life. That's just life. And so when you embrace that that's just life, it makes you appreciate these moments all the more. That the Detroit Pistons are back. And not just back in terms of like notoriety, but they're back in the playoffs. Not the play-in, right? Atlanta Hawks are in the play-in. Charlotte Hornets have gotten into the play-in. Miami Heat are in the play-in. This squad is in the playoffs. They're the number 6 seed. If Jaden Ivey doesn't get hurt, I keep saying this, they probably the number 3rd seed. And so doing this preview, I think this is gonna be fun for me. Brandon Boyd, what's good, man? Do you think Ivy will come back like game 4 or 5? No, I don't. No, I don't. Not at all. You don't do that with a playoff team. You don't all of a sudden switch up and bring in somebody who's a real player for you and throw off the whole rotation and all that. You just don't do that in the playoffs. Either he was going, and I said this before, either Jaden Ivey was going to be ready with about 5 games to go in the regular season, or he wasn't going to play in the playoffs at all. And if you see right now, he's barely running sprints. Barely running sprints. That's not doing ball handling work. That's not doing 5-on-5, 3-on-3, full court, full action, physical action. He's not doing any of that. He's not ready for the playoffs at all. That would be a disservice to him and the team. Avery Whiteside, what's good, my man? If Malik Beasley can be off the bench with the '09 Ben Gordon, shout out to the '09 Ben Gordon. Look at you. Look at my man. Ben Gordon was the truth. He should have never left D Rose. He should have stayed with that was a beautiful pair. That was a beautiful pair. If it could be what the '09 Ben Gordon was for the Bulls in the Celtic playoff series, it's over. That was, man, shout out. That was a great series. That was Derrick Rose, a rival to the big scene. And Ben Gordon was a bucket. But let's be clear. Ben Gordon had about almost a 40-inch vertical, bro. His ability to make an impact was very different. Um, and he was just built. He was built like Baron Davis. He was like 6'2", 6'3", but he was just like probably 185, 190 pounds. Like he was diesel with the vertical. Malik Beasley's not that. Malik Beasley's not flying above the rim on people. He can get you a dunk, you know what I mean? But he's not. He's not that. And so all that to say is my expectation. And shot making, no, I get that as well. I do anticipate that, and this is a part of the preview, so I guess I'll just dive into it. Part of the schemes. Let me get to the schemes, and then I'm gonna sprinkle in some of the actual player analysis and my expectations and outlook for this team. As always, I appreciate the comments. This is an interactive uh, live stream as always. I like to go back and forth with the comments. So I appreciate y'all being here. Slap the like button for me while you're there. Smash that like button. Definitely appreciate it. Um, Let me just say, if I'm Tom Thibodeau, this is what I would be expecting if I'm JB Bickerstaff. If I'm Tom Thibodeau, I am 100% saying Cade Cunningham can beat us. I'm going to put it in his hands, meaning that I'm going to stay home with him. Just one defender. OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, I don't care who it is, Josh Hart. And then I just attempt to shut down everybody else, which is probably far more feasible. If Cade Cunningham goes for 50 and they lose in 5, you'll take it. People forget the Michael Jordan Bulls, his first series against the Boston Celtics, Larry Bird had a comment. I think Jordan went for like 50 something, almost 60 points, 60 something points. Larry Bird was like, man, it was like God was in the building. There's nothing we could do with him. He was absolutely unstoppable. And I think they swept that Bulls team. They went on to the NBA Finals. People forget, Michael Jordan back in the day, there was a real narrative where they said scoring guards can't win championships. You need a big man and you need to play as a team. And so there's this understanding that, yeah, an individual player can put up stats, but it's a team that wins. If I'm Tom Thibodeau, I'm looking to shut down the team. All right. And this is where Cade Cunningham is going to have to really step up. But let me stick with the Knicks for a little bit. They're getting healthy. I think having the week off is really going to help Jalen Brunson get his legs back, get his pop back. And I fully expect a healthy, motivated New York Knicks to hit the floor. Here's some of the things that I think are going to be wild cards and potentially handicaps for the New York Knicks is that much of their offense depends upon Karl Anthony Towns' performance. And Karl Anthony Towns, as I told New York Knicks fans who got upset with me when I told them this, I said, you probably lost the trade because you locked yourself into an enormous contract for a guy who can at times be unplayable in the playoffs when you need him the most. He doesn't have the leadership. He doesn't have necessarily the basketball IQ to do the right things in the right moments. He's many times behind the play, and sometimes he just seems like he's in his own world and he's not actually reading the game. And that can be a huge liability in games, especially down the stretch in close games. If the Detroit Pistons keep games close, which is probably an outlook for this team, they can they can confidently say we have the best closer. And Jalen Brunson is no slouch as a closer. Make that known. But I believe down the stretch of a game, yeah, I agree with that with Cat and Bridges. Yeah, I don't think Mikal Bridges is him, but he's a good tertiary scorer. He could be a number 3, number 4 type of guy. But it's to say that I think down the stretch of games, if the game is close, they will have the best closer, and the Pistons will have the best shutdown defender to slow the other team's closer down, which means somebody else is going to have to make those plays. And I don't know if they have another guy who can make those plays. I'm not betting on Karl Anthony Towns. I think he might have a good game or two. I think he'll also have a knucklehead game or two that could cost them 1 or 2 games in the playoffs as well, which is why this series may go 6 or 7. If it's less than that, it's because certain people didn't step up for the Pistons. And I think that's what I'm going to get into in a little bit. In terms of the Knicks, I think OG Anunoby's going to do his thing. Remember, he was on that championship Toronto Raptors team, even though he didn't get a chance to play in the playoffs because he got hurt. He had a knee thing. But he was on that team that was in the playoffs every single year, facing LeBron, losing to LeBron. So he has some of that exposure. I don't think that he'll shrink. I think that he'll play his game. But he's not necessarily someone who's going to beat you. But I will say OG Anunoby is kind of a wild card that if he ends up being 20 plus points per game type of a scorer throughout the series, he can really shift the dynamic of that team and that offense because now they have someone else they can rely upon to score alongside Brunson. And when they need to, they can just sit Karl Anthony Towns and going with a massive defensive team. When I say massive, I mean Jalen Brunson at the point. He's not going to defend, but everyone else around him. Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, and Mitchell Robinson. Those four around Jalen Brunson can be vicious if they can get enough offense. If. And that's a big if. And that's why I said if OG Anunoby is scoring over 20 points a game, he gives them that potential rotational flexibility to be a top-notch defensive team, and that could cause us problems. Mitchell Robinson in the middle can definitely cause us problems, and he's another wild card. If he plays big, if he does his best Rudy Gobert defensive comparison, that can be an issue for us. It's one thing, look, we all know Cade can get to the rim and score against just about anybody, but let's also be real. There's not too many big-time defensive centers in the NBA anymore. There just isn't. There just isn't. But when you have one, and he's sitting under the basket, he can deter a lot of what you try to do. He can really change how you play the game. And when you have physical wing defenders, perimeter defenders around him, it can make the game really tight, where there's really small windows to get your shot off. And those defenders are going to play a lot more what we call like an overplay style of basketball, where they're going to gamble more. They don't need to challenge a shot. They can just stay straight up, knowing that you're going to take tough pull-ups instead of getting to the rim because of the guy behind them. So Mitchell Robinson is another key piece for them. Mikal Bridges, I think he's going to do what he does. The thing is, you just have to keep Mikal Bridges from having that great game. He's going to have okay games for the most part. 16, 14, 16, 18-point games throughout the playoffs. That's who he is. He's gonna figure it out, how to get to that mark. But you got to make sure that he doesn't get to that 30-plus mark from time to time. You got to make sure that he doesn't hit that point. Because if he does, that can spell doom for this team. And I mean doom. Every white side. If I'm Duran and Stu, I'm trying to mentally take Cat out the game. Jalen Brunson going to score, shut down Bridges, and make the others beat us. That's a great point. That is a great point. And that's part of the strategy for the Detroit Pistons that I'm going to get into in a second. As far as the New York Knicks, they're also going to rely on their bench. Now, here's the thing. Tom Thibodeau is not good at relying on his bench. He's also not good at creating offensive schemes, which means that they're going to be pretty cut and dry, obvious at their attack, what they're doing offensively, which should play into the hands of the Detroit Pistons, that they're not going to give you some crazy offensive scheme that you have to figure out, that you're going to be struggling with. And so I think J.B. Bickerstaff and his staff will have them prepared and ready to go. The question is, can they perform? Can the Detroit Pistons perform? And I'm going to get to that in a second. I know I keep saying that, but bear with me. Some of the guys off the bench, I already mentioned Mitchell Robinson. Some of the guys off the bench, like Landry Shamet, Cameron Payne, these are guys that, Precious Achua, are guys that we're going to have to keep corralled. We have to make sure that we're not allowing people to have big games who should not be having big games. And this primarily means Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley. Defensively, you have to show up. You will be targeted. Let's make no mistake about that. They are going to be targeted. They don't want to see Asar Thompson on Brunson. They don't even want to see Cade Cunningham. They'll take a Tobias Harris on Karl Anthony Towns, but they don't really want to see one of those big guards with quick hands, good footwork, and physical guarding their best scorers on the perimeter. So they're going to look to get switches. They're going to run a lot of screening action to get Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. And this leads me to this point, and I'm going to switch over to Detroit in terms of schemes. The Detroit Pistons cannot roll out there the the Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley combo. They just can't. They just can't. They cannot. I do not want to see at all Dennis Schroeder, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr. with that miniature lineup. I just don't. Now, if you're telling me that trio is going to be able to go out there and accelerate the pace of the game, get up a lot of threes, potentially take advantage of mismatches, that's going to be one hell of a gamble. And maybe it's a card that they're going to have to play early to see if it can work. Yeah, yeah, and give Ron some. Ron is going to play. I don't think Ron is not going to play. And I'm going to get to the individual players in a second. Let me just quickly grab this charger real quick. Ron Holland is going to play. Make no mistake about that. What we're going to really be looking at is how he plays. There's three guys on this Pistons team who are going to have to step up and play big. Three young guys. And that's what I want to kind of get into. I believe Cade Cunningham is going to be who Cade Cunningham is. He's going to do his thing. Isaiah Stewart is going to do his thing. I think our shooters, Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley, for the most part, they're going to do their part. They may have a big game, but I think for the most part, they're just going to be solid. That's what I'm expecting of them. Make 2 of 6 threes. Shoot 40% most of the time. Even though the defensive focus will be on stopping them and keeping them from getting hot because it's a major part of our offense. And they're probably betting on if they can slow down our shooting and put it all on Cade to carry us. I think that could be a good strategy for beating the Pistons. But I think that they're going to perform. They've been showing that they can perform all year and beat that strategy. Teams who have been able to shut them down have been successful. But even in those games, I think it's been more about us than it was about them. Maybe we're tired end of the season. Minnesota Timberwolves comes to mind. They did some good work against us, Milwaukee as well. But all in all, I think they're going to be able to do what they need to do. But Ron Holland, Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren, those three are going to be pivotal. They are going to be pivotal for the Detroit Pistons. Ron Holland, Asar Thompson, and Jalen Duren. They will be the wild cards for the Detroit Pistons. One, can they stay out of foul trouble? That is the number one thing. Number one. If they get into foul trouble, it puts us into a bad rotation. We're having to come in with Malik Beasley too early, which allows them to be exploited more often. And that perimeter defense with those two alongside Cade Cunningham gets real weak. You have a gaping hole in that perimeter defense. And Jalen Brunson's going to get off on it. And so is Mikal Bridges. And it can be a long night for us. First thing, outside of not getting into foul trouble. One, they got to pace themselves. It's going to be a lot of energy. Asar Thompson, it seems like he's been slowing it down. I'm trusting it was more processing and not something else going on. I know they said there was like he had a knee thing. I don't think it was anything too bad. And I think a week off to rest and get yourself going, I think he's going to be good. But I don't want him so hyped that he's picking up quick, easy fouls in game 1, game 2, game 3. Like, you cannot get into foul trouble. The Detroit Pistons are going to need Asar Thompson for 35 minutes a game. He has got to do his part to be responsible defensively. And the same thing goes for Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren cannot pick up the bad fouls, and he can't compound the fouls. If he gets one, you can't get that second one in the first quarter, bro. You just can't. You can't reach in anymore. You got to let it go past you because we need you to be able to do things like rebound, which we are going to be at a distinct disadvantage because they are a far bigger team. And so we need Jalen Duren to be smart. We also need JB Bickerstaff to not just trust the guys, but also to protect them. And that's a hard balance. It's a hard balance to protect your guys and also trust them. For example, there was a game, I think it was against Milwaukee, where Jalen Duren only had one foul in the first half. He came in into the third quarter and picked up 3 fouls in 4 minutes and went from one foul, one personal foul, to four. That quick. And then he subs him out. If Jalen Duren is picking up back-to-back fouls, you have got to protect him. You've got to pull him out. Somebody on that coaching roster needs to say, hey, we got to get him out. He's not locked in. Or he's putting himself at risk for not being able to be playable when we're going to need him down the stretch of a fourth quarter. Isaiah Stewart has held his own against Karl Anthony Towns. But as he gets fatigued and tired and our offense becomes a little bit more stagnant, you need some more dynamic play at that center position. You need to be able to have Duren in the flow. The second thing is that I want Ron Holland and Asar Thompson and Jalen Duren to play free. To play free. Don't overthink it. You know how to play this game. You also know your game and how you've been able to positively affect this team to win games all season long. Trust it. Ron Holland, Asar Thompson, look to a defensive rebound so you can initiate transition and push the tempo. Look to get downhill. What about Dennis? He has been on the big stage, not only in the NBA, but also international play level. How big? Yeah, no, facts. Dennis Schroeder is going to do his thing. I'm not worried about him. He's not a wild card to me. He is somebody that I'm kind of banking on. Now, he's not the takeover guy, but he's going to be solid enough. He's going to be solid enough. Ron Holland, Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren, those are three guys those are the wild cards for the Detroit Pistons collectively because they're young. They're young. They're very young, all under the age of 22 years old. Right? They've never been here before. It's a big stage, playing in Madison Square Garden in the playoffs. You know how loud and raucous that place is going to be? I've been to Madison Square Garden. Great arena. Great arena. Fans are as engaged as any fan base. As any fan base. They're going to make fun of you. They're going to talk to you. They're gonna comment about your game, your shoes, your hair. They're gonna laugh at you, make fun of you. Don't airball. They're gonna all say resoundingly, airball. But you can't get gun shy. You can't get gun shy. You can't have a turnover. You can't get into your head. You're gonna have to stay locked in. I want them to play freely. You're playing with house money. You weren't supposed to be here. Play free. Play aggressive. Play your game. Trust it. Because these Detroit Pistons are going to need it. They're going to need that game from Asar Thompson that all of a sudden, man, he got to 22 points. Man, he had a great game. He had 18 points and 12 rebounds with 3 blocks and 2 steals and 4 assists. Whoa, we didn't see that coming. Right? Those are the games that we're going to need. The 22-point, 14 rebound game from Jalen Duren with 4 or 5 assists. The Ron Holland game where he gets to double-digit points, 10, 12, 14 points, knocks down a couple threes, gets you 4 to 6 rebounds, maybe a steal or 2, even gets you the free throw line. Like, the Detroit Pistons need those guys to show up. And so play free. Play free. Because you're not going to have those types of games playing scared and timid and scared to make the wrong play. Trust yourself to make the right play. The last thing I would say with that trio, in terms of being wild cards, is that they're going to have to step into being great players. And when I say step into it, I mean You have to believe that you belong there on that stage, that you have a statement to make, that you're putting folks on notice. It's not just about playing well. It's about that you know that you're supposed to be here. You're him. And you have to play with that type of a swag. I think Ron will be settled after game 2, but like you said, during an Asar, foul trouble, and free throws. Yeah. But they got to play like they really believe they're supposed to be there because they do. They're that level of talent. Ron Holland right now is on pace to become a Jaylen Brown type level talent. He's not quite as athletic, but his slashing ability, his ability to get out in transition, his ability to finish around the rim. He has a nice little mid-range game. He's got good touch on his three-point shot. Very athletic, high motor. He's a great talent. Teams see it. Asar Thompson, same thing. A great talent. Jalen Duren, you're a great talent, but you have to see greatness in you. You have to be thinking to yourself, man, if I make one, I can make two. Man, if I make two, I can make four. If I make three, it's going to be a long night for y'all. That's the mentality. And I would say more than anyone, Jalen Duren has to have that mindset, especially in the second half of games. I need 2 full halves of Jalen Duren playing his best basketball. Sometimes he has a great first half and he'll fade, or he'll be kind of absent in the first half and then he'll have a nice third quarter or fourth quarter. We need 2 halves of him aggressively attacking the rim, attacking Karl Anthony Towns, who cannot stay with him. Karl Anthony Towns cannot stay with you. Neither can Mitchell Robinson. If you can be the best center on the floor, which you are more than talented enough to do, it doesn't mean you got to give us 25 points. It may mean that we need you to just be aggressive consistently attacking the basket, get downhill, get to that free throw line. Look to dunk on them and finish and use your post footwork, up and unders and reverses and jump hooks. Maybe even a little floater or even a little pull up. Who knows? Get to that free throw line. Make your presence felt. And if you can get Karl Anthony Towns in foul trouble, which is more than possible because he's a foul magnet, all the better for us. But you got to believe that you're that good, and you got to play that way. You got to demand that everybody sees just how good you are. But both halves, not just one, not just one. And Asar Thompson, don't get caught up in just scoring. Sometimes he gets a little bit out of it. And I mentioned this before, and it kind of irks me at times. He forgets that he's also a major part of our offensive attack that keeps Cade Cunningham balanced. When we're running point Asar Thompson and he's running that point position, what he does is he brings Cade off the ball, which allows Cade Cunningham to be more aggressive as a scorer because he knows that he's not the main facilitator. It also allows him to save energy, and it prevents other teams from being able to press him 92 feet up the court, which wears him out energetically. If Cade Cunningham has to be our primary facilitator and best scorer, what they're going to do is they're going to guard him full length of the court. And when it comes down to the fourth quarter, he's going to be gassed because that's just who he is. It's hard to be the primary facilitator for any team and your team's best scorer and to be able to close out the game. It's extremely hard. Extremely hard. This is why most great facilitators have a great scorer next to them. And most great scorers are also not your best facilitator. It's very rare that you get the Luka Doncic, Cade Cunningham type who can do both. Even Kyrie Irving, but doing both wears you the freak out. It just does. It just does. So Asar Thompson, don't get caught up in if you miss a three, if you miss a shot. Keep running point. Set up our offense. See if you can get downhill. See if you can create early offense in transition. Right? Those early opportunities when you fly down the court after a rebound and then you get into the paint and you draw that defender and you find Tim Hardaway Jr. on the opposite wing for a wide open three, that's great offense for us. He's actually Asar Thompson is one of the best creators of quality looks, quality shots in the NBA because of his gravity. Now, I know how teams are guarding him now. They're saying, hey, when he gets downhill, force him to make his shot. Don't just collapse on him. That's how teams are guarding him. They're not just collapsing on him anymore. They're like, let's see if you can actually score. But that's okay. Even if you don't score, you pushing in transition gets us into our offense earlier. And it prevents them from being able to pressure Cade Cunningham the whole length of the court. That dynamic alone saves gas in the tank for Cade Cunningham and allows him to close out games for us. Asar Thompson, that is a major part of what you do for this team. We need you to stay locked in. On top of that, rebounding. Rebounding is a major way in which you contribute, Asar Thompson, offensively and defensively, whether you're scoring or not. Matter of fact, if you're grabbing offensive rebounds, you're probably getting to baskets. Even if you airball a three and you miss a shot or two, you're going to get 2 or 3 bunnies just from putbacks on the offensive glass. Getting out in transition, cutting off the ball, all these different things. All these different things are ways in which that you contribute to our team offensively. And then defensively, is if you're staying out of foul trouble, man, you are a terror out there. You do so many things well. Not just well, I'm sorry, elite. Absolutely elite. Stay out of foul trouble. But recognize that your impact on this game goes far beyond making jump shots. That's going to come. I completely have faith in that. But it goes beyond that. It goes beyond that. And the last one, Ron Holland. Ron Holland, I want you to play free. I want you to stay out of foul trouble. I also want you to stay engaged. I know you've probably been an offensive player most of your life, and it is a new experience to be a role player, to come in off the bench and to help contribute in different ways. But I need you, even when your offense is going or you're looking to get your offense going, to not forget all the other ways that you contribute, much in the way that Asar Thompson does. But there are some games where I see your body language is a bit, not aloof, but it's almost like because you had a good offensive game the prior game, now you're looking for your offense in the next game, and then you forget that your main responsibility is rebounding, defense, getting out in transition. Scoring is secondary. We need you to be locked in, my man. We need you to be locked in. Now, I want to get to some of these other points. Dennis Schroeder, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., Tobias Harris. I expect them to be the professionals. Isaiah Stewart, be you, my man. Be you. Be you all the way through. And take them damn threes, bro. Look, I get it. You don't want to take an early three, but damn it, take that three. Take that three. That if y'all swinging the ball around, the ball comes to you, take it with confidence, bro. You shot almost 40% from the three-point line last year. You should be taking 3 threes a game, at least, right now. Catching it in rhythm as the trail man, knock that shit down. And he can make them facts, Avery. You already know. You already know. Yeah, oh, beef stew is key versus cat. Yo, 100%, bro. 100%. Beef stew, play your game, bro. Play your game. Play aggressively. Don't worry about if you miss a shot. Don't worry about if you accidentally turn it over. I'm not saying keep turning it over. I'm just saying play free. And that's probably the greatest thing that I want for this team, for these Pistons, is to play free. Play your game. Play smart. Know your role and what this team expects of you. But play free. Play free, because that's how we're going to have an opportunity to win. Simone Fontecchio, I got to get to you. I've been riding your ass for a minute, man. And you probably got to be tired of me. If you listen to me, that's for damn sure. Because I've been on your ass, man. We don't need you creating. Look, you a professional, man. I ain't even going to hold you. You in the NBA. You doing something right, bro. And I'm sure you got a lot of confidence, and I don't want you to lose it. And at the same time, I think that there is a part of your game that when you tap into it earlier and often, it can be more effective for you. And that is as a movement shooter and scorer. Stay in perpetual motion. Don't just sit around and wait for the ball on those dribble handoffs and try to create off the bounce. I'm not saying you can't do it. You probably think you can, or the coaching staff at least seems to allow you to do it. But you're at your best when you're constantly moving. You catch that ball. If they're closing out hard, instead of trying to dribble, drive, attack, swing that ball, cut to the basket behind it, catch the pass, look to go up. If you ain't got it, see if you can draw the foul. If not, kick that ball. I don't need you putting the ball on the floor a whole lot and trying to create. It's almost like college days. I don't know if, for those of y'all who ever played any college ball, there's this thing where, and maybe I don't know how your coach used to communicate it to you, but if it takes more than 2 dribbles, you're dribbling too much, meaning that you're giving the defense an opportunity to collapse on you and to reach in, and now you're just stalling out our offense. If it takes you more than 2 dribbles, it's too much. And in terms of Simone Fontecchio's game, if it takes you more than 1 dribble, it's probably too much. If you can't get to that rack in 1 dribble, it's probably too much. Pass it, cut, just keep the offense moving, man. It's still significant. Hit the boards, play hard defense, get out in transition, do all the other little things too. And if you get an open look, don't hesitate. Pull that motherfucker, man. Shoot that hole, man. Quit messing around. I don't care if they jump and block it. Okay. So what? Shoot the next one. Shoot the next one. That's your job. That's your role. Be you. Now, I don't know if Marcus Sasser is going to get a chance to play. They may go small. As I said before, they may try to go with small lineups with Cade or Asar Thompson, at the 3-4 type of position, and have 2 smaller guards to maybe try to get Marcus Sasser some burn because he's a bucket. We know that. And I'm not going to be shocked if JB Bickerstaff experiments. And I'm going to get to JB. It doesn't look like he's going to win Coach of the Year, even though he should. But it's to say that if they go small and Marcus Sasser gets some burn, Marcus, from Boomerang, Marcus, darling, go ham, my man. Go ham. All gas, no brakes. Straight dip on them. Go get buckets. Get into the paint, collapse the defense. Let me see that floater game. Let me see that. You got a nice floater game, bro. Get to the rack, finish. Do you the moment you get out there. Don't get caught up in trying to run the offense and facilitate. Go get a bucket. Marcus Sasser, if you get a minute, you go get a bucket. To the rack. To the rack. They got to see you. You got to be a problem the moment you hit that floor. Quit worrying about getting us into the offense, my man. Look, it'll come. When you get into the rack, you gonna get opportunities. I hope we see some off-ball Cade. Don't want him gassing the clutch. Facts. That's what I've been saying. I want Cade almost off the ball, almost exclusively in this series. Until we get Jaden Ivey back, I really don't want Cade Cunningham as a full-time point guard. I just don't. He's our best scorer, and taking on both roles as the primary facilitator. And I mean primary. I don't mean never run point. I mean the primary facilitator. When he's our primary scorer and primary facilitator, it's not sustainable. It just hasn't been. It hasn't proven to be. Until we get Ivy back next season, who now we could get him going, and then Cade can be more of the full-time facilitator. Then now you have, someone else who's taking on the role and can find more balance. Though I think in the future, Asar Thompson is going to be running our offense at least 30 to 40% of the time. All that to say is, Cade, get off the ball. And I think JB is going to make sure he's off the ball for the most part until it comes down to closing out the game in the fourth. But Marcus Sasser, you get in the game, man, go get a bucket, my boy. Go get a bucket. Be a problem, be an issue. Make them boys see you. Remind everybody, you're him. You've always been him. I went back and watched the game at the University of Houston. You had the same game, and it was clean as hell. And then you went to I think it was the Portsmouth or Chicago draft camp before the draft. You ended up going back to school, but you got back advice on what you needed to work on, facilitating a little bit more and doing some other things. But don't forget what got you here, my man. What got you here was not your facilitation skills. It was your doggedness on defense and that you were an absolute bucket, scoring at all three layers. You had the full bag, and it was clean as 100%. Be a problem when you're out there. Be a problem. Now, JB Bickerstaff, I'll say this. Bro, okay. Sometimes it feels like coach to coach. I ain't comparing levels and all that stuff. I think you're a fantastic coach. Mad props. A couple things. Your challenges. Use them, but use them wisely. Have an assistant coach at the end of your bench. Be your review guy. If you are thinking about challenging a call a timeout. Shoot, be one of those coaches who get on the court yelling at the ref just enough just to slow down the game and give your guy at the end of the bench enough time to look at his iPad and look at the play. And he can give you a signal. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs up, it is a as clear as I can imagine, 100% overturnable. If it's down, it's because it is not 100% clear. Don't risk it. But use it, because there's times where it's like, shit, that one foul ended up being what got the fifth foul on Jalen Duren or Cade Cunningham or Star Thompson. And now you're in a bad situation rotation wise. If you can avoid that through an effective challenge, use it. The other thing, man, trust Asar Thompson, please. Trust Asar Thompson. Look, if he fouls out, he fouls out. Jalen Duren, too. If he fouls out, he fouls out. Let him foul out, but give him the minutes. Give him the minutes. Let them learn in real time. Let them learn. Don't sit there and forget about them, because sometimes, man, I feel like you be forgetting about them. And Asar just be sitting there. Look, if Ron Holland is rolling, and I'm going to get to that, that's my next point. Let him roll. But get Asar out there, especially in the fourth quarter. His ability to get stops, to create turnovers, which gets us into transition offense and allows us to score easily and not have to execute against a half-court defense every single time because Cade is bringing it up slowly or Schroeder is bringing it up slowly and trying to run his pick and roll. That is an essential part of our offensive functionality. Asar Thompson needs to be out there. And real talk, you should be having an assistant coach in their ear. I know you got Jarrett Jack, but you need to be able to have an assistant coach in their ear when they get into that fourth quarter. Hey, Asar, what we need you to do is to speed up the tempo of the game. See if we can get some easy transition offense. Use that speed because everyone else is tired now in the fourth quarter. And they have no athlete who can stay with you. Ron Holland, same thing. You get into that fourth quarter, you have got to go ham. Everyone say, JB is our sixth man. Facts. Facts. He motivates, he has them bought in, but they have to make sure that the young guys stay locked in. And that's not easy. Jalen Duren as well. He can't fade on us in the second half. He can't have a great first half and then a slow, sluggish, picking up fouls in the second half. He's got to stay locked in. And the coaching staff is going to have an effective strategy to make sure that those guys are maximally effective to close out games. But don't forget about Asar in the fourth quarter because he's the guy that when it's going back and forth, you can stick on a Jalen Brunson and say, slow him down. Fight through the screens. Slow him down. And when you can, get those offensive rebounds. Get those defensive rebounds. Get out in transition. Cut off the ball. Use your athleticism. Speed up the tempo. Get those steals. Get those turnovers. You remember how many times Asar used to come in the fourth quarter and he would either get a steal or create turnovers like multiple possessions in a row and it would completely flip the game. WTW. I don't know what WTW means. But for real, there are times when Asar Thompson would come in the game and he would just cause havoc in the fourth quarter. And it would benefit our offense so much because it's going back and forth and Cade might be getting tired everyone's loading up on Cade, and then all of a sudden, Asar Thompson gets a steal, a breakaway dunk, creates a deflection, a block shot. We get out in transition, and then Cade Cunningham gets a breakaway layup or dunk. And then all of a sudden, we just scored a bunch of points in a row without having to set up in the half court. And that saves us energy to come back and play hard on defense. JB Bickerstaff, don't lose sight of Asar Thompson. AG the Don, Wagwan, brother. What's going on? Detroit finna slaughter and don't let us get Ivy. Yeah, I don't think Ivy's coming back for for this series. I don't think he's gonna be back this season. It doesn't make sense trying to integrate him into a rotation that's been pretty stable throughout this season. He's also, I don't think he's ramped up for physical contact yet. He's ramped up to on-court play. Uh, he's cleared for on-court play, but not necessarily physical contact yet. I don't think that they've cleared him for that, and I don't think that he at this point. I don't think he. There's no way to ramp him up for playoff basketball. Andrew Sellis, Pistons in 6. Ooh, is that right? Is that right? Pistons in 6? Okay, I'm here for it. I'm not mad at it at all. I would not bet the farm though for it. I'm not betting the farm. I've seen it's going to take, there's going to have to be a lot of question marks answered, and I've gone through that in this video. A lot of the wild cards of Ron Holland, Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren. How do they play? How do they perform in their first playoff match? And they're only 22 years old. I'll say this, JB Bickerstaff's my last point to JB Bickerstaff and his coaching schemes. Ron Holland needs to be coming into the game the moment Asar Thompson comes out the game. I know you might want to go small, get out in transition. I'm going to be honest with you. I think you can do that with Ron Holland and not go small with the Dennis Schroeder, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr. thing. I think Ron Holland has proven that his energy, his hustle, his intensity, his rebounding ability, his length on the perimeter brings so much to this system, to this team, that to not have him or Asar on the court really depletes that perimeter defense. It really puts a lot of pressure on Cade Cunningham to be our best perimeter defender, to be our biggest perimeter defender. And it takes away a lot of our ability to get out in transition. I know sometimes Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley have their moments and they hold it down. I appreciate that. But at the same time, let's also think about the future of this franchise and team. It's not going to be with Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr., even if you resign one of the two of them. You need Ron Holland to develop. Let him come in after Asar Thompson. Let Malik Beasley come in after Tim Hardaway Jr. Let's keep that size on the perimeter so we can continue to contest and have that wild card of that athleticism that they can't, that the New York Knicks cannot match. They just can't match that athleticism on the perimeter. So let's keep that feature out there. I want to see Ron Holland come in right behind Asar Thompson, right behind. And then when Simone Fontecchio comes in behind Tobias Harris, if he falters a little bit, give him a short leash. If he ain't playing well, all right, sorry, my man. Asar Thompson, you're going to be the backup 4. That's it. That's it. That's it. Give him 1 game to get it going, 2 at the most. After that, by the time you come home, it's win time. It's win time. But hey, let me know what y'all think. What do you guys forecast for this series, Pistons versus the Knicks? What you think that they're going to be able to do? How do you see it going? What do you think of some of the points I made? I'm going to take a couple minutes to answer some of these questions in the chat, and then I'm going to get off this thing and watch some anime. Pistons in 6. Okay, okay. Beef stew is the key. Big facts, big facts. Dennis is going to do his thing. He ain't ever scared. He ain't ever scared. And I definitely like him in that closing lineup with Cade. Cade, Asar, Tobias, which is tough because, man, it's hard to go. See, here's the thing. That closing lineup, I definitely like Dennis Schroeder in it. Malik Beasley or Tim Hardaway Jr., if one of them as shooters has it going, that's something that, is going to qualify them to close the game. And it helps us a lot. But it is whoever has it going the most. between Dennis Schroeder, Malik Beasley, and Tim Hardaway Jr. I think I'm sticking with Cade, Asar, Tobias Harris, and Jalen Duren or Beef Stew to close no matter what, and then rotate it between those veteran guards, see which one has it going the most. But then at the same time, if Cade is tired, if he's had to carry us and you see that he's physically slowing down, sometimes you're forced to go with Dennis Schroeder because he's going to be the best defender, point of attack defender out of the three, and he has the ability to orchestrate our offense and run things. So yeah, am I pro union? I'm for people coming together to advocate for their needs anytime, anytime. But yeah, I think Dennis Schroeder is going to be that guy in that regard. Pistons got to set the tone to have any chance. Facts. And that tone is going to be speed. They got to play with pace. They got to play with pace. We got to see Asar Thompson rip and go, grab that rebound, snatch that thing, and take off. Cade Cunningham cannot walk the ball up the court. Matter of fact, one of my favorite plays for the Detroit Pistons is when Asar Thompson gets the ball in transition and he flies down the court and he attacks the rim and Cade Cunningham is trailing the play. And the defense loses sight of him because they're worried about Malik Beasley or Tim Hardaway Jr., who's also trying to get their shot off, or Tobias Harris doing his thing, Jalen Duren coming down the middle, and they lose track of Cade Cunningham. And he gets a kick out from Asar Thompson, and he's sitting there at the top of the key, and he just catch and shoot. Whap! He just hit that hole. Like, that's one of my favorite plays, bar none, because it allows Cade to be an effective scorer while expending little to no energy. Comes down the court, steps into a wide open look because they've caught the Knicks on their heels. Or they get caught with a matchup that they hate, which is Jalen Brunson on Cade Cunningham. Right? But a lot of that stems from their ability to push tempo, to increase the pace of the game, keep that defense on its heels, and not let them set up. Mike, can't have the Knicks be comfortable the entire game, never let up. And that's real talk. It's another reason why I don't want Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. on the court together because they're too small. Even with Dennis Schroeder, they're too small. Jalen Brunson's going to get off. You have to guard him with length and physicality. You got to have somebody bigger than him who also has length and is going to stay down but force Brunson to shoot over him all the time. Always have that hand in his face. Always have that size in his grill. Not letting him get to his spots. Not letting him get to the free throw line, which is the first point I made about not getting into foul trouble. Don't let him get them little cheapy fouls off of pump fakes. You want to shoot over the top? Shoot over the top, my man. Shoot over the top all day. Over Asar Thompson all day. Over Ron Holland, Cade Cunningham all day. Shoot over. If you have a great shooting game, you hit 13 shots in the game, we're going to hope that it's on close to 30 shots taken and that he's not getting to the free throw line because that's a major part of his offense is getting to the free throw line, getting you in foul trouble, getting you on your heels and unable to make contact, and then he can take advantage of you. Don't get into foul trouble, but you got to keep size on him the whole time. That's a great point. Don't let him get comfortable. J May, for sure. You got a new sub. For sure. I appreciate it, my man. I don't know why this was recommended. I'm in Van Nuys, California. What's good? I'm in the Bay, bro. Uh, but basketball analysis has gotten so poor, and I can't help but think of the irony that analytics has amped up. Yeah, man. I do this channel for fun, bro. This ain't my day job. Uh, I got my finger on the pulse of this team. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, man. This ain't my day job thing. I do this for the fun of it, for the love of it. I've been a fan of the NBA my entire life. I followed this thing tight. I mean, real close. I used to be a professional coach, college development trainer, personal trainer, developed athletes. Like I love this shit. So I just talk my shit, bro. I just talk my shit, but I appreciate the subscription. Please hit the bell to follow when new videos drop. But as always, my live videos are always interactive. So when you guys put down comments, I make sure to read them. I appreciate it. But hey, we're coming up on that hour, coming up on that power hour, and I got some anime to watch before I go to bed. I'm going to get at y'all. Let's go, Pistons. Let's see what this team can do. I'm going to get at y'all next time. Once again, it's your man 100 Grand Russ with The Rock Never Stops. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'm going to get at y'all next time. Peace.